Premji Investments. Scene 101, take one.
Hi, Sanjay. Thank you so much for agreeing to do this.
Always great to talk to you, but delighted to do this session together.
Let me start off by asking, you had an absolutely fabulous career at SAP, then you became the COO of VMware. After that stint, you probably could go anywhere, but then you chose to work with Cohesity and then took the reins over for Mohit to really take Cohesity to the next level. Just wondering what triggered that, how did you think about it, and perhaps, what excites you about the space and Cohesity more specifically?
Yeah, thanks, Sandesh. I think, listen, when I left VMware in 2021, I met many opportunities that were, a potential fit that I wasn't really, sure. The reason this was the most intriguing of all the ones I looked at was it was at the size that wasn't quite a startup. I'd always been interested in something around data. That's kind of what I did in my undergrad computer science work and then a master's. And then in my time at VMware, I'd been very interested in security and I'd been investing in security, ran the security businesses. So this was kind of like a potential to be a Snowflake meets Palo Alto or a Databricks meets CrowdStrike opportunity. I mean, obviously Mohit's an incredible entrepreneur and innovator. I had heard about him, watched him from a sideline. I'd never met him actually till, the board and him approached me. And I was very intrigued by his passion, his innovation, the way he thinks. And we hit it off. And the rest was really, could we together, him, me, and of course the rest of the team and the board, create a great company, which was a very, very exciting opportunity.
How do you view Cohesity's sort of core IP positioned with sort of the rest of the market, if you may?
Yeah, I think, listen, that's a fundamental realization. I mean, this is sort of his third act of doing a file system. He did it first at Google, and I think his second act was building Hyperconverged, which is basically a software-defined file system at the core at Nutanix. Right. And the third time, I don't think he gets enough credit, but he invented Hyperconverged for secondary storage. Many of the things we're doing now in generative AI with retrieval augmented generation build on those foundational elements they built 10 years ago. Part of the reason we're able to do things incredibly well today was that file system, the index system, all of those wonderful choices that were made.
You made some very bold strategic maneuvers, unlike anything we've seen in the private company realm, especially for late-stage venture capital-backed companies. We ended up making a big move in acquiring a much larger player in Veritas. Perhaps you can give me some thinking about why you thought that was the right decision to make, and then the vision for the combined company.
I'm not a deal junkie, you're probably better at that than me, but this structure is probably one of the most amazing for a $7 billion transaction where there's a combination of a debt exchange, a raising of cash through debt and equity. And I think as a board, we had sort of thought through three possibilities, okay? Number one was we go public alone, but we'd still be a number 8. We wouldn't stand out. Option 2 was do this deal, combine with number 3 and go to number 1, and then become 3 or 4 times the size. And number 3, just give up and sell the company. We weren't going to do that. So I think the board thought through this for many months. And we all felt like, let's go swing for the fences. There's only one life to live. I don't want to be number 8 in the market. I want to be number 1. And we all got excited about it. And that's February 8th, we announced the deal.
So maybe extending past the Veritas acquisition here, what do you think is the game plan for us in terms of how we handle the combined customer base and more specifically the Veritas customers?
The world is made up of about 10,000 big companies and 10 million small companies. So we want to lock and load the 10,000 big companies to be really loyal and growing joint Cohesity Veritas customers. But then I think inside that customer base, there's some white space that we want to go and capture before competitors in there. But there's a lot of growth of workloads. There's private cloud, which is typically VMware, Red Hat, Nutanix, and public cloud, AWS, Azure, Google, not to count the SaaS applications, Salesforce, Microsoft 365, Google Workspace, ServiceNow, Jira. So I think with the engineering mass that we have, we will be twice the size and engineering capacity of any of our modern competitors.
This is a conversation that is probably relevant to everything that we were talking about these days, and let's talk about AI.
Yeah.
How do you think about AI, especially in the context of NVIDIA getting involved with us?
When ChatGPT started to become a big conversation, not that long ago, like exactly 12, 15 months ago, I went up to Microsoft and I asked Satya Nadella, who's a good friend of mine, hey, do you think we can use OpenAI to search and summarize? It seems like the best summarization tool, our own data. And he said, yeah, I don't know for sure, but you should check out retrieval augmented generation, RAG. I had no idea what RAG was. I thought it was a piece of cloth you wipe your windshield with. But, we went back as very studious computer science students almost, and they downloaded every computer science paper on RAG. I started reading about it, And they just started coding. I said, listen, keep it under stealth. Let's patent the idea of how you use RAG for backup, because no one had done that, which we did.
Right.
We applied for a patent on that, and we just kept quiet and we just implemented. And 6 to 9 months into that journey, NVIDIA came along and we were talking about it, and they said, listen, what you're doing is phenomenal. Not just do we want to partner with you because it's unique, we want to invest in you. And they joined you in the Series F investment, which is incredible. We're excited that they're building Gaia, that's our RAG product, on top of NVIDIA. And retrieval augmented generation combined with the LLM capabilities really opened us up. So Gaia is now taking the world by storm. The initial feedback from customers, Sandesh, is amazing. I think we've got a several-year head start over all our competitors, and I think the opportunity is huge.
It'd be great to get your view on the industry and where you see Cohesity in sort of the 5-10 year journey, and what are the key tenets? How do you measure that journey for you?
I think we are, targeting what I feel is about a $40 billion TAM. It might be bigger. So how do we go and do that? The first, $2 billion to $3 billion should be pretty straightforward. We just take share, we grow faster than everybody else, and we cement the enterprise and then potentially even go down market. I think we have a path by which we can take the aspects of what we're doing in cyber vaulting, classification, clean room recovery, and create a multi-$100 million business that can get to $1 billion. And AI, I just think like, listen, if we sold even a 100K or a half 250K ACV deal to every one of our 10,000 customers, you've got a business there.
That's right.
So let's create a $5 billion revenue company. So now you tell me, you're the investor. How much do you think a $5 billion revenue company is worth?
Oh man, a lot.
I hope it's 25, 30,
yeah,
50 billion, right?
Yeah. How would you describe your management philosophy?
I've talked about this widely, but it's driven by servant leadership. We have to, as a CEO, delayer the organization and take the axe to all forms of bureaucracy so that that lowest level engineer and sales rep is empowered. And often I go right to that engineer or sales rep, either in a sales call or an architectural review, and they feel in a meeting that they're the most powerful person in the room. So you start with that premise that servant leadership means that you're not the top of the most important, where the customer is, the person innovating is. And then we try to basically create constructs that are really focused on speed. For example, I've always told our companies the most important goals is innovation and customer obsession. Customer obsession, everybody can do. Even if you're the most innovative, that's a skill that you can teach.
For us, because we are not looking like a typical venture fund as an investment cycle and an exit cycle, we want to be associated with the most enduring companies. And so a lot of the selection, everything that you described, the TAM, the culture, how you're going about building an enduring franchise, really resonates with us. The end goal is to give back to the endowment a set of companies that they can own in perpetuity. And everything that you described to me today, makes a perfect match for everything that we do and how you think about building Cohesity. So I feel like this is hopefully a partnership that can be built over a long period of time.
Well, let me reciprocate by telling you why we picked you. Okay. First off, your founder, Azim Premji, is a hero of mine. I grew up in Bangalore and everybody wanted to work at Wipro. And he's iconic in my city where I grew up. He's iconic in India. And he exemplifies to me that heroism of servant leadership. And then I think when we most needed a start to Series F, you were there for us. You sparked the first investment that led others. You were a partner. And to me, if every entrepreneur can hear that about how Premji operates, that's what I think about you. So it just felt like, when an investor takes a first step of faith in you, our loyalty back to the firm and to the fund is 10x. And not just that we are grateful for your advice to us, at our board meetings and at our observer meetings, your team giving us input on the market, assessing what's happening between us and the other players. All of that is super important, guiding us to what we should or shouldn't be doing. So I think for every possible small firm listening to this, I'm all in. I'd encourage you to talk to Premji, and if you can get the type of value add we've seen from Sandesh and their team, you're in really good hands.